Well, welcome to 6.3 review. If you notice my hat, it's an Arctic as seen on TV hat. Works great for gardening and fishing. My wife got it for me for Christmas. Not everything that's as seen on TV is junk. This is a great hat. On to the review. Okay, we're going to start with a problem like number 1. Multiply 2x squared times the polynomial x cubed plus 2x squared minus 5x minus 1. Now this is really no different than what we've been doing before. We use the distributive property. The only difference is instead of multiplying by 2 quantities in parentheses, here we're multiplying by 4. So you just distribute and multiply through, and we get 2x squared times x cubed plus 2x squared times 2x squared plus 2x squared times negative 5x plus 2x squared times negative 1. And we just multiply through, and then we have to simplify all of those products. And when we do that, the 2x squared times x cubed, we add the exponents, 2x to the 5th. 2x squared times 2x squared, we multiply the 2 times 2 to make 4. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. Then we have the 2x squared times negative 5x. The 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. X squared times x to the 1st is x cubed. And then finally, the negative 1 times 2x squared is minus 2x squared. And that's it. We can't combine any of those terms. That's our answer. Okay, here's one for you to try on your own. Negative 2x to the 5th y times the quantity 4x y to the 4th minus 3x cubed y minus 1. Multiply it out and simplify using those properties of exponents. So pause the video and try this one on your own. Okay, so we distribute through multiplying by that negative 2x to the 5th y times each of those 3 terms. So the first product, the negative 2 times 4 makes negative 8. X to the 5th times x to the 1st makes x to the 5 plus 1, or x to the 6th. Y times y to the 4th is y to the 5th, because we have 1y added to 4y, or 1 added to 4 to give you the y to the 5th power. Then in the second product, the 2 negatives make a positive 6. X to the 5 plus 3, 8. Y times y is y squared. And then finally, the negative 1 times the negative 2 x to the 5th y makes a positive 2x to the 5th y. And none of those terms can be combined, so that's our answer. Okay, now we're going to do a problem somewhat like number 3, only not quite as bad as number 3. It's where we multiply a polynomial times a polynomial. Now what we have here is 2 terms multiplied by 3 terms, and I have an acronym for this, and it's MAPP, multiply all possible products. So you're going to multiply x times x squared, x times 2x, x times minus 3, but then you're also going to multiply the 1 times x squared, 1 times 2x, 1 times negative 3. So when we do that, we have x times x squared, this x, plus x times 2x plus x times negative 3, then 1 times x squared, 1 times 2x, 1 times negative 3. So when we do those multiplications, we get x cubed plus 2x squared, and then a minus 3x. Now, the second bunch of products, 1 times x squared is plus x squared or 1x squared. And you notice I put it under the other x squared. Then plus 1 times 2x is plus 2x. And then plus negative 3 or just minus 3. I line up these like terms, so then what we always have to do with this type of problem is then combine like terms. So we have x cubed plus 3x squares a negative 3x plus 2x is a minus 1x or just minus x, and then minus 3. So that's our answer. Okay, here's one for you to try, much like it. X minus 2 times x squared minus 3x plus 1. Multiply that all out and simplify your answer. So we have to distribute twice, like we did in the previous problem. X times each of those 3 terms in the second polynomial, and then negative 2 times each of the 3 terms in the second polynomial distributed, which I have shown here. So we get x cubed minus 3x squared plus x. Then for the second set of products, minus 2x squared, and you notice how I'm lining up the like terms, plus a 6x, because the negative times negative makes positive, and then minus 2 times 1 is minus 2. Now combining like terms, we get x to the third minus 5x squared plus 7x minus 2. And that's your final answer. All the like terms have been combined. Okay, now I have a problem that's like number 3 of the homework. And this one has a polynomial of 3 terms times another polynomial of 3 terms. Well, when we had 2 terms times 3 terms, we ended up with 2 times 3 products 6. Here we have 3 and 3. We're going to end up with 9 products. And there's no shortcut to this. You have to find all 9 products. X cubed times each of these 3, x squared times each of these 3, and 1 times each of these 3. So it's the same method, it's just more terms. See if you can do this one or try it. And pause the video, give this a try, find all 9 of those products, and then start combining like terms. So that's what I have shown here. X cubed times each of these 3 terms, x squared times each of these 3 terms, x squared in green, and then the 1 is in purple. Little Packer Viking action here. 1 times each of these 3 terms. So we have 9 products that we have to figure out. So I've listed all 9 products. Now here's a little trick you can do. We get all these products and these powers. A way to combine the like terms and not double count something is just cross them off after you list them off. So we have 1x to the 7th term. We have 3x to the 7th. We have a 3x to the 6th. So I'm going to cross that off. We have 1x to the 5th term minus 2x to the 5th. I'll cross that off. Then we have 2x to the 4th terms, and they combine to make a positive 1x to the 4th, or just x to the 4th. So I'm going to cross those off. We have a single x cubed term, minus 3x cubed. Cross that off. And then 2x squares, the negative 3x squared and the negative 2x squared adds up to minus 5x squared. Cross that off, and all we have left is the minus 3. So that's just a way of accounting for all the terms. Cross them off as you combine them. You don't have to do that, of course, but something I like to do just to make sure I've counted them all and not double counted some of them. And that is the correct answer. No more terms can be combined, and that's about as hard as it gets. Oh, I guess you could have 4 by 4, but we won't do that. So this one, number 3, it's straightforward. It's a lot of work, but you can do it. Okay, we're going to kind of regress back to something a bit simpler here. Multiply x plus 3 times x plus 8. Now, following that same procedure, we would multiply x times each of these two terms in the second polynomial. So we have x times x plus x times 8. Then we'd multiply 3 times each of those two terms. So plus 3 times x plus 3 times 8. And there's an acronym for multiplying two terms times two terms. I guess MAP still applies. We're multiplying all possible terms, but for this special case, we're always multiplying the first two terms, f for first, then the outside terms, x times 8, o for outside, then the inside terms, 3 times x, I for inside, and then 3 times 8, the last terms. So that spells the word foil, like tin foil. And you maybe heard, if you've had an algebra course, I'm sure you've heard that term, foil. But it only applies when you're multiplying two terms times two terms. But it's worth remembering, because if you take more algebra classes, you'll be multiplying and unmultiplying these two terms times two terms quite a bit. So here's a problem for you to try. Multiply x plus 6 times x minus 6 and simplify. So we multiply those first two terms by the other two terms. And again, we can use that FOIL procedure. First terms, outer terms, inside terms, and last terms. And then we get x squared minus 6x plus 6x. And that should be minus 6 there. Plus 6 times negative 6 is minus 36. And the 6x's cancel, so we end up with x squared minus 36. And there's a special name for this product, and that name is difference of squares. Whenever you have a plus b times a minus b, the result is a squared minus b squared. In this case, it's x squared minus 6 squared. That's important to know, because in the sections coming up, we're going to do the reverse of multiplying. We're going to unmultiply. This happens to be one of the special forms. And it's special. It's in the Viking purple. So remember that for the upcoming sections. Okay, one last problem. Multiply and simplify 2x minus 1 quantity squared. See if you can do this one, or give it a try. Now, very often students will say, well, this is 2x squared, which is 4x squared, minus 1 squared, or minus 1. Or maybe they'll say, well, since it's minus 1 times minus 1, it's plus 1. Well, both of those are wrong. They're both wrong. It's a real, if you made that mistake, don't feel bad. Like virtually everyone in the world has made that mistake at some point learning algebra. It's common. Even calc students do that. The problem here is we're squaring the whole quantity. So what we have is 2x minus 1 times the quantity 2x minus 1. So we FOIL that out, or multiply it all out. 2x times 2x plus 2x times negative 1 plus negative 1 times 2x plus negative 1 times negative 1. So we get 4x squared minus 2x minus another 2x plus 1. And that simplifies to 4x squared minus 4x plus 1. So Don't forget about those middle terms that we had here, the outside and the inside products. So you have to multiply out the whole quantity by itself. That's all for 6.3 review. See you in the next sections.